on stream yet for some stupid reason.
Really? But yeah. So I got Super Viper here. He's gonna be helping me comment this run. In fact, I'm gonna go off the mic while I'm playing. So I'm gonna allow Super Viper to comment the run. He'll do a great job because yeah, he also knows this game as well.
I've done this game every now and then.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind being mic'd up, but there's a few stages in the game that are pretty demanding for your focus. So,
So we have a request to boost my mic.
okay, yeah, I'll turn you up. Turn you up a bit. I don't have game audio yet. But yeah, Gradius IV came out 10 years after Gradius III in the arcade.
Technically the last arcade game in the Gradius series if you don't count Ultimatius.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna deafen myself here. Good luck with the commentary. And we'll get going here.
Right. So are a bit more vertical and a bit more powerful, and you can also control where they go by just moving around as you throw one. Yeah, you kind of.
Speed up. Speed up.
Game has 9 stages as opposed to the last game we saw, which has 10. An interesting game, has some interesting ideas here and there. It's actually very similar to the first stage of Gradius II, in which there are these planets and dragons will come out of them, and every so often, if you destroy one or shoot one of their little fireballs, then they'll drop a power up for whatever reason. This game also plays a lot of homages to older Gradius games, but it also, again, has quite a bit of time. Planets also kind of bob around in weird ways. It's not uncommon to have a dragon just randomly trap you. There's nothing you can do about it. Fortunately, the dragons don't really take that much HP. A lot of points just from getting a lot of dragons. This stage is pretty short, as you can see. It's almost already coming to an end here. The first boss of this stage,
Force field.
first boss of this game, your Gaetan Chimera. There's 2 different forms to it. The first form is the same every time, but the second form depends on, it seems, the most or something. I don't know where exactly it causes, but that is the best one because you can get some score from it if you choose to. I mean, you don't necessarily need to, but this game's extra lives are even more scarce than Gradius is, because the extra lives for this game is first at 70,000, and then second is at 150,000, and then every 150,000. So to get as many extra lives as you can. He's going to be holding on to this fourth option here and then activating it as soon as the stage starts. Because this is going to manipulate the timing of the option hunter. Because unlike Gradius IV, the option hunter appears on a fixed schedule after you activate your fourth option. In Gradius IV, which will appear whenever. It's a fixed amount of time after you collect any option or activate any options, really. And now, with the timing that he activated the fourth option at, it's going to appear at the very start of the volcano section of the fourth stage, provided he doesn't die anywhere before that. Plant stage, as you can see, the plants kind of react to you. The Konami developers tried to make this game so where pretty much everything you do kind of ends in a reaction. You know, for every action there is an opposite reaction, and that's kind of what Konami wanted to make the game interactive. They did a good job, it's just that some of the ideas are kind of annoying. Like, these plants are very erratic. Very likely to, if you're not careful, you're very likely to just have one of them just fling right into you and you're dead. More power-up opportunities in this game than some other games that we played earlier this stream. In this section, he's going to be farming from these little plant guys that spit out the light ball things. Careful, because a stray one can just somehow hit your force field. But overall, not too bad. Now the next boss, I believe this is the Dendrobium. Spot, you can farm from the guy's little ball things that he shoots out. Doesn't look like he's going to. He's just going to go for a little bit of a quicker kill. Ooh, never mind. For a pretty long time if you want to, but you do have to mind the dragons. And in addition to that, sometimes he'll throw in that little charge ball that you can't destroy. First really bad stage of this game, or at least the first stage where something can go pretty badly, the bubble stage. The bubbles in this game are a bit more, I guess, realistic. It is that as you change difficulty settings, certain elements of the game all of a sudden, like, it's not just enemy speed, enemy bullets, and enemy powers that change, it's just overall how the stage changes. Like, for example, the bubbles here will become a lot more durable, and they'll split apart a bit more erratically, and you can just kind of... Because the bubbles are spreading out pretty far and wide, and very easy to just have one of them run into you out of nowhere. And also, they're ridiculously powerful against standard laser, which is actually why Aquas is playing with the normal shot right now. Because, first of all, he doesn't want to play with the laser on the side anyway. The armor piercing is absolute crap. It really wouldn't make sense to use the armor piercing on this stage anyways, because it can't really pierce through the bubbles because the bubbles will regenerate health very, very quickly. This game do have rather long reload times, or at least long enough to allow the bubbles to regain most of their HP back. I mean, that's kind of the trait they do in this game. This as a viewer, so I might have a few seconds to play. Bear with me on that. These crystals are also kind of weird. Sometimes they'll just bump against the wall and then randomly gain speed. Don't know exactly what causes it. Get a new force field before the boss here. Bubble Core is kind of a weird boss here in that it'll shoot a lot of bubbles. Green, and as I said earlier, they are pretty durable, and you also have to focus on destroying the core and dodging the lasers. Occasionally though, he will ram you, which will make getting damage done on him a lot easier. but I don't know exactly what causes this. So far. Got it. Now we're going to head on to the volcano stage. An interesting thing I've noticed about this game is that the stages are kind of in a similar order and slash layout to how they were in Gradius IV. So, volcano stage. The first stage was the sun stage. That was very similar to the sun stage from Gradius II. The second was the plant stage, which I guess is kind of different. The third was the bubble stage, which is similar to the crystal from Gradius II. Now we have the volcano stage. The difference is, though, that Gradius II has stages and not 9. There's a lot of rock structures here, so placement and the use of vertical mines to take out some enemies is advised. Use the volcanoes, which you could farm from. Looks like it kind of is. It is kind of unsafe to farm from them if you don't. You can see the option hunter is going to appear, and he's going to let the option hunter purposely take one option because otherwise he will appear during the Moai stage, and we don't want that. So he's going to kind of delay activating the fourth option again until another proper time. And greatly increase the consistency of being able to dodge the option hunter. Because unlike other Gradius games, the option hunter in this game actually homes in on you. Whereas in other Gradius games, he will just travel in a straight line. So unless you're really, really good at dodging, it is guaranteed to take at least one option. Because you're going to want your options. This magma section is just a bunch of random rocks floating around in the lava. I get a little spooky later on when the floor starts bouncing up and down, but it's really not difficult. So it's really just a bunch of tight maneuvering, and that's it. So, one thing I kind of want to bring up right now is how this game's rank works, because it's different than Gradius III, which had more of a static rank formula. This game is it's more of a counter style formula where the rank kind of is a counter that is increasing slowly as the run goes on, but increases faster the longer you stay alive. And every time Aquas dies, the rank will actually go down a little bit. If he ever gets caught in a situation and he starts dying a couple times, then you'll notice that the rank starts getting easier and easier. That's why. Affect it as well as difficulty, what station moves you're on, but kind of also reliant on this counter. Yeah, I like to think those little guys are option hunters, but they really aren't, so you're not getting your options. This guy is very easy to manipulate. As you can see here, he can farm damage on this guy in this phase as he travels around. And basically, you can just have your options drilling you as you do damage to the boss. Oh, this is Galata, my bad. I think I called it Galata. That's his first boss. Honestly, the least of your worries. But you kind of just want to get this guy as soon as possible, and he did.
Force field.
Nice trail on your body after it explodes. For the Moai stage, this is generally regarded as one of the harder stages in the game. Never really easy. But this stage in particular is where the rank will start going. Oh, let's hear it. We're going to do a double. That's a normal double. Okay, right there he activated the fourth option as soon as the vertical scrolling becomes free is when you want to activate your fourth option, because provided you don't die in the cell stage, it will appear after the regenerating wall section when you're in space. I mean, very easy to do. There's a few different kinds of Moai in this stage. As you can see, we have the normal Moais, we have the red Moais, which can stand up and turn around and do all that good stuff. They also fire a lot more rings. Easily become a problem if a bunch of Moai start firing at once. Also, when a Moai dies, if it's like flying on a wall or something, it has a bit more of a realistic falling. This can catch you off guard. But now in the section, there's a bunch of regenerating Moais, where after you kill a Moai, it will revive itself and begin firing at you again. It's kind of bad. Because it means you can't never really get rid of them. And there's going to be a lot of rings flooding the screen here very, very soon. It's going to get pretty crowded, but luckily the vertical mines do a very good job of shielding you from harm. There are some cases where a ring can slip through and just easily affect you. Unfortunately, again, unlike Gradius IV, recovering in this game usually isn't too hard, mostly because of the fact that, again, the rank does go down for death. And as much as possible, because like I said earlier, extra lives are very scarce. Dying for as long as possible. That's very impressive. Getting through that massive amount of rings is not an easy feat, but props to them. And for Aquas/you, I don't actually remember what this boss's name is. It's something along those lines. Two more heads here. Here, but they do have these mini Moais that kind of act as their aides, and they're the ones that do the main attacking. Usually are not destructible, you just kind of have to dodge their attacks. They're usually not that hard to dodge. So you'll get the second one in a row. Boss can be easily quickly dealt with you picking off spots. Alright. You have to be careful of that rubble because it can still kill you. So then you'd have to do the boss all over again. Luckily he made it through that stage alright. And now it's time for the worst stage in the game. The cell stage is widely regarded by many as the hardest stage in this game. To the run, but tricky sections of the stage, and at a really high rank, this stage can be almost impossible to get through without dying. If you do, it's by stroke of just pure fluke. You got this little, a lot of blood cells, I guess, will come from this area, and at first they seem kinda, harmless, but once they start like no one's business, it becomes a real mess to navigate through. So, thankfully Aqua has full power, so it's not going to be a huge issue if he gets through, but see, the enemies were just coming out non-stop. So, even a force field, sometimes you'll just get hit 1, 2, 3 times and then bam, you're dead. He made it through.
Force field.
Now it's time for this section. This is honestly the easiest section of the level here. Because the arms aren't really a threat because you can shoot them and they'll go back into their hidey holes. A gory one, as you can see here, but it's not as gory as like Gradius V cell stage, and it's definitely not as weird looking as Guidance. Guidance was a really weird looking cell stage. Enemies of the entire game, these stupid tentacular cells. They are ridiculously sensitive. Shoot them, their arms will start flip-flopping all over the place. On higher ranks, they get pretty ridiculous, and there's a lot of them, and they also fire a bunch of enemies and bullets that, if you just leave them alone, they'll sometimes just go flying all over the screen. Does a strat where he actually stops shooting, prevent them from going completely ballistic. Looks like he's gonna do that here.
Speed up. Speed up.
Oh yeah, who didn't see that one coming? It's very, very common to die here. No blame. I don't blame Aquas. You're almost guaranteed to die there if you don't play it perfectly safe. But luckily, as I said earlier, recovering isn't too hard because it will go down for death. And basically, the strategy to get through here is just don't shoot at the tentacle itself, and you'll be fine. Ooh, got caught there. get dropped even further. As you can see, the enemies move rather slow now, so they're going to be pretty manageable. We do have a regenerating wall to go through in this game, but it's a very short one. It's not a huge deal. It's in the wall that can easily screw you over if you don't go about it correctly. I got faith in Aquas. The enemies do move pretty slow though, so they are very easy to dodge, especially if you just kind of situate yourself in one spot. Now it's time for, in my opinion, the worst boss in this game, Burial. So, Burial is a doozy. But thankfully Aquas is a bit underpowered, so he'll be fine. But yeah, Burial, even with low power, can be a bit of a doozy. That's a little what's in there. Basically, you just kind of want to attack this guy every opportunity you get. He's constantly firing lasers at you, and the arms are firing those little green pellets at you that sometimes they'll fire spread shots, and sometimes they just kind of fire singular bullets. Ooh, nice little use of the laser beams there. You don't see that very often. Only do that if they're very well spaced out. The reason why I hate this boss so much is its final attack, which you kill it, it'll turn into the eye will turn into a zealous force, which for those who don't know, that's the final boss of Salamander. And it will fire a string of lasers at you, and if you're not positioned perfectly, you will die. Alright, Burial first try. Very nice. Nicely done. Alright. Oh. Now, we're on to a pretty fun and short and sweet stage, the high-speed stage. This is a pretty fun stage to do, but there's a lot of different routes you can take. Obstacles you need to watch out for. There's gonna be some, like, ping-pong paddles. There's some weird, like, spinning things. There's obviously the opening and closing gates. You know, it's not a high Gradius, high speed stage without those. Hitting, like, arm things. Only matter when Aquas activates his options. The option numbers are just gonna kind of appear no matter what. This stage is actually pretty easy though, and the route Aquas uses seems to be fairly consistent. I think the route I use is random elements. I don't think I was talking about this at all, but whatever. Just pretend I was, okay? Those random elements. The next boss is seemingly random, named Rolling Core. It can attack in a variety of different ways. Frame drops here, at least on my end. Missiles, it can fire a laser from its core, it can kind of bounce up and down while firing lasers, or it can try and ram you. Ideally, it will ram you, and you can use that to try and kill it easily. To try and, call it into mechanics. Rolling Core is kind of chirpy when it does that, bouncing up and down attack. Okay, it shot a laser as it died there because once Rolling Core is at 1 HP, it'll just constantly fire lasers into the section. If you notice, it originally kind of fired the lasers in a pattern, but once you get it down to 1 HP, it'll just rapid fire shoot them. You need to die at that point if you don't kill it right away. Now it's time for the boss rush. This is a relatively short boss rush, but again, due to the rank, it can cause a few problems later on. Expect points for each individual boss in the previous games. So you won't have to worry too much about a death costing him that much. He's not going to have to redo the entire boss rush, and you get a lot of power up to use that rush. I'm just going to kind of take care of this guy really quickly. You can farm from the missiles if you want, but it's obvious he doesn't want to do that right now. don't blame him. He's got a few extra lives in reserve. Provided he doesn't die too many times, he should be pretty good. Yeah. So here's big for Mark 3 Kai. He looks tough and big and powerful in Gradius 3, but with vertical mines, you can take care of him in like 2 seconds. Although it doesn't look like Aquas is going to be able to do that. Little middle laser attack, and he has an extra attack that we probably won't be seeing a whole lot of. Okay, no, he's gonna might see a little bit of that attack. He's gonna kind of bend his arms a little bit. Flecking laser would have gone all over the place. It would have looked really cool. And finding a safe spot is actually kind of hard. There's cover Tetran. There's actually 2 ways you can kill cover Tetran in this game. Or destroy the core, which is the harder method, or destroy all 4 of the arms, which is generally what people like to go for. The more arms you destroy, the faster they will rotate, and there is kind of a pause in between each one of them. Just keep it your distance from cover hit, but it's not a hard boss. Her is very challenging. Berserker core is ridiculous on high rank. Power fired are really fast, and if you're unable to react to them quickly, it's very easy to die here. Kind of bait the. I'm just gonna kind of fire vertical mines on top of Berserker core just to take care of the barrier. There is a safe spot you can utilize, but it's very tough to get into without having one of them shoot you. The top guy first anyways, and this is a much safer method. All you have to do is just sit above them. It's a bit easier if you have type F with the flying torpedoes. You can just fire them, hold out their fire, and then after a while let them go, and they'll just charge right into the vertical barrier. He took that up pretty safe, right? And for the final boss of the Boss's Planet Core, this guy can either take you 5 seconds or take you around 30. Let's see what Aquas does here. Kind of try and stay for that here. Gonna go for the quick kill. Oh, he's gonna try to get him down soon. Go quickly if you're not playing him. So he starts spinning those little orbs around. The orbs kind of spread out randomly. It's really weird how that works. But yeah, the best way to handle that is to just kind of sit in the lower left-hand corner. But even then, sometimes you can still die. Ready to kill him once he opens up and starts firing out all the big lasers. Planet Core, you don't want Planet Core to live long enough to see that face. So it's very good that he got him down quickly. Final stage. This isn't too challenging of a final stage, frankly, and there's a couple of unique elements to it. Just watching Aquas is going to go the level out. Nice. I myself use type E, and I also use double on the final stage, so I understand. Make our way into the fortress. The most important thing to do here is to not die at this first checkpoint. This is probably the hardest checkpoint to recover from in the entire game. If you get past here, he's pretty much good to go, especially considering him. There's a lot of tight maneuvering here with this first section. We're actually going to enter the vertical section here. The screen's going to kind of flip sideways for a moment. Much harder, but without a tail gun, you do have to be really careful with your options, like the use of vertical mines to kind of, take care of the halfways. You can die now and easily recovery. This is Aquas we're talking about. He's really good at this point. To the normal orientation, and we have a brief moment of free gameplay. What's coming up is the gun wall. It's called Bloody Gate, probably because it's red. And there's a pretty cool safe spot for Bloody Gate that allows you to easily time the boss out, or if you have good options, like it usually does. So let's see if Aquas is going to use it. Right, he is. And he's going to use it to time Bloody Gate out. See why he wouldn't just go ahead and let the options do the work, but I don't know. Fine. Spot because you can kill the doctors right away, the cannons won't hit you, and also the floor isn't going to bother you while you're in this position. It isn't even that precise either. Small safe spot. You only have a small position that will work, and there's a bunch of Gradius IV safe spots that require you to be in pretty much the exact position. Any of them. It's almost all the way up until the unexpected. It's also pretty nice because the cannons respawn after a certain amount of time, and they fire lasers pretty rapidly. And the floor moving makes it really hard to kind of adjust to how you shoot it out. Overall, not a whole lot to say here. His pattern does repeat, but it won't be able to repeat all the way, and eventually we will right now. Destroying the cannons. It's kind of funny how the vertical mines can tell some of the cannons from a good distance away. Yeah, wow. I have the hammer section, another interactive part of the game where you can shoot hammers. You kind of have to shoot your way through hammers that are indestructible. Pretty cool, based on your shots, so they have momentum physics and whatnot. Because after all, this is a video game. Everything is supposed to have physics. You can go about doing the section. The safest way by far is to just take the bottom route. It might not look like it, but because there's less cannons down there, you don't have to worry too much about getting hit. Pretty big fear of this section, at least, including especially this late into the run. It looks like he's gonna make it through. Oh no! Again, this is another checkpoint that's not too bad. Oh, gonna destroy it there. Okay, let the fun and games begin. As you can see here, though, the rank does once again significantly become easier. He's in the home free. All right. Now we have the Crab Walker as a game, which is not very hard because we don't have duckers to deal with this time around. Unless you count those ones that were at the top of the screen earlier. There's a weird glitch with this boss on the PSP version of the game, and maybe this version of the game, where it'll just kind of show up as the background textures until you die. And you can still get past it. Like, the hitboxing is still the same and stuff, but it's just really weird. I don't know if it can happen in the PS2 version or not. I've never seen it happen. It's very rare on the PSP version as well. I've had it happen to me about 5 times maybe, and I've seen it happen to someone else once. Yeah. Yeah, he's going to start throwing the floor tiles here, but that's not a huge threat at all. The screen is very easy to get past at this point. Now, we're just going to try to close him off, but we don't have to worry about that because we already know it's going to happen, so we're just going to sit at the front of the screen. On to the final boss, who, just like Gradius III's final boss, is ridiculously hard.
I'm the center of the universe. My will.
It's Gopher making a return from Gradius II, because this game is kind of the revival of Gopher. Face. Yeah, show us the face, boy. So amazing.
With every beat, I will be reborn.
take out those 4 beads, and there you go. That is Gradius IV. Good job to Aquas. And being able to take out the game. I mean, I guess out of the 3 Gradius games, at least one of them got completed. That was really awesome. Like, that went better than most of your practice sessions that I remember watching. The cell stage on the cell stage and 2 deaths on that hammer section. That was actually really impressive. That's on cell stage and 2 deaths on the hammer section. That was really impressive. Sad. And we finished the game, we just didn't once you see it.
Speed up.
Actually, the second loop is actually, like, I don't know if we're still on or not, but the second loop is actually, the stages are kind of changed up. Yeah.
Speed up.
Stages are anyways.
You need more practice. Please continue.
Either. That made me feel a lot better after the horrendous thing that was my Gradius III run. Well, I guess that was fun. Hope you liked the Gradius series, and if you are stupid enough to try to once you see any of the games, by all means, I recommend it. Like the call.